How do I build self-trust? How do I build self-trust? Well, you say you're going to do something, do it. Okay, I'm going to go to the gym 3 times this week. Do it. I'm going to drink a gallon of water a day. Do it. I'm going to journal. I'm going to whatever those small things are that are bite-sized and actually tangible that you can do them, that's going to start to build up your self-trust bank account. Give yourself the credit and be like, oh, cool, I did the things. That internal safety comes from the trusting and the doing, the beingness of I'm going to be my word. I'm going to be in integrity with myself.
Welcome to the Legendary Podcast, an invitation into intimate, soul-bearing conversations with the gods and goddesses of our Burning Man camp, the legendary playground of the gods. Here you'll meet the visionaries, wisdom keepers, heart-centered entrepreneurs, and edge walkers who make up this extraordinary soul family. Together, we'll journey through the turning points that shaped us, the failures, the victories, the breakdowns, and the breakthroughs, and what it truly means to rise and build something sacred from the ashes. If you've been searching for your people, if you've longed to find a community that inspires you to rise, you've found your tribe. So join us now for another sacred journey. Welcome to the playground of the gods. Welcome to Legendary.
Hello, Legendary family. I'm Celinne DaCosta, your guide and host for today's journey. I am very excited to bring in today Amie Barsky, who I have personally met and hung out with as recently, well, in the burn, obviously, but also as recently as April in Austin. So, Amie, I know, we've met before and we've had some time together, but I'm personally very excited to dive deeper into you, your story, and to be able to record this for anyone else who may be interested to listen. Amazing. I'm excited to be here. So thank you for having me. And I'm excited to spend more time with you as well through this interview and obviously at the burn. So just around the corner. Yay. Well, okay, let's dive in. For someone who's listening to this podcast and they're coming to contact with you for the first time, who are you? What do you do? And what's lighting you most up in life right now? Oh my goodness. Those are really great questions. First off, who am I? Who am I? In a nutshell, I am a small town girl. I grew up in southern New Jersey in a very tiny, tiny town and had big dreams, and wanted to make a difference in the world. I didn't know exactly what that looked like for most of my life in my younger years. And as of the past, I'd say like 20 or so years, it's basically being of service. How can I be of service? I ended up moving from the East Coast in a small town in southern New Jersey called Acco all the way to Los Angeles, the big bright city of, Hollywood. And I was in the entertainment business for a long time. Alongside being in the entertainment business, I had a nonprofit organization that helped young girls who were in between foster care and family. It was called Maryville Angels. And that was near and dear to my heart for well over a decade. And so as being a part of community and connection and being in the entertainment business, walking red carpets, having so much fun on all the sets, doing that work as well, my life I feel like I have done 1,000 lives in one lifetime so far. I've had so many jobs in different areas because, as many of you may know, being in the entertainment business, the consistency is generally not consistent. So you're doing other odd jobs and things like that. So I got to do fun bartending gigs. And then I ended up in the world of health and wellness, teaching yoga and Pilates and meditation. And that just took me on a path of personal development, really recognizing my own my own childhood traumas, big T and little t, and really going, what do I want to do about this? Because I did play the victim most of my life. Not unconsciously, I was blaming my parents for a lot of stuff that happened in my life. And so as I started to unfold all of that and unpack the truth of the matter of taking full ownership of my own life, that is what I've been up to as of late. And as a coach for women who experience burnout or overwhelm. I'm a somatic psychotherapist and master coach of the nervous system and just helping people move through what's happening in our own nervous systems to understand it and then actually go, oh, I have choice to change this. This isn't working for me. Well, then what do I want to create in my life? And that's where this whole legendary life comes from. Literally designing my life with like just such intention and deliberately saying no to this and yes to that. And it's been life changing because when you take ownership of your own life and you're like, I do have choice, I can advocate, I can make sovereign yeses and sovereign nos. It just, everything else opens up because you're making spaciousness for all infinite possibilities of what you actually do desire.
Mhm. I love that. It seems to be the turnkey, isn't it? To
Mm,
take responsibility for our
yeah.
own life.
Yeah.
And I know in my own journey, it was in itself a process to shift
For
from I
sure.
know that to actually I feel that and a
Mhm.
nervous system
Yes.
level.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, go ahead.
Well, that's exactly, you just nailed it. Knowing it is one thing. We call it mental gymnastics. Doing the
Yep.
mental gymnastics of positive affirmation and reading the books and listening to the podcast and, going into a space and place of thinking differently. Yes. But if there's not a bridge between your brain and your body, if there's not a connection between your head and your heart space, then there's the disconnect of embodiment, of actually living it and knowing it as your truth versus a thought.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which in itself is a big journey that
Yes,
I
it
would
is.
love to unpack
It's not a
with you.
one and done, that is for sure.
It is
At least
not
that
a
has not been my experience anyway.
well, what was your experience? Because it was not a one and done for me either.
Right.
But I'm
Yeah.
curious,
Well, this
what
is what I
was
will
your
say.
experience? Mhm.
Once you sign up for getting to know yourself better and making different choices in your life, the journey never ends. There's no end goal. There's no, I'm going to be complete and finished with growth or healing because it's layers. It's layers to a beautiful onion. And, I thought in the beginning that that's what it was. Oh, I'm going to go to this coach and they're going to tell me everything and they're going to give me all the answers and my life is going to be great. And I did this post divorce. I walked away from a marriage that was pretty toxic. Now, mind you, his toxicity and my own toxicity. So it was a twofold. It wasn't just like, even though then I did blame him for a lot of it. I also noticed that there was a lot happening within my own life that I wanted to look at, and within that dynamics, it just wasn't possible. And so I chose to walk away, and that was probably one of the hardest decisions I've ever made in my life because coming from a Catholic background, 12 years of Catholic school, you're going to disappoint people. You're going to disappoint parents, and there's going to be guilt and shame and all. For me, that's what it was. And so it was really hard to walk away from a relationship that I actually knew I shouldn't have been stepping into in the first place. There were lots of red flags in the beginning. And I was a person who, like many of us, we want to belong, we want to fit in, we want to feel loved. And I was new to California, and it was just an interesting space. And there were lots of wonderful things about him that I really enjoyed and loved from the beginning. And there were a few red flags that I didn't pay attention to, or, my good girl, one of my identities as a good girl, or my old identities, I should say, or people pleasing was like, and this idea of hope and potential. Oh, things will change, things will get better. And it didn't change. And we were together for quite some time. And I ended up, this pressure of society. Society says, at this age, you're supposed to be married and starting a family and having this ideal life that should, quote unquote, bring you happiness. And so I followed that path, thinking, I'm going to follow the rules and be the good girl. And therefore, I should be happy, end result.
Mhm.
And that was not the end result. So upon walking away from that relationship, right previous to that, my brother passed away. And that was a big eye opener. And that was probably a catalyst to questioning uh, life. What am I doing with my own life? Why am I here? What is the purpose? And I got really angry. I had a friend soon after my brother's passing commit suicide. And then I was even more pissed off at the world. And I say Gus, God, universe, source, spirit. I was just like, I wanted to say F you. I'm out because I had suicidal tendencies in and out of my life through different, chapters, if you will, of just depression, sadness, loneliness, trauma. And so yeah, I started going my own path, and that caused a rift in the marriage, and then it was time to walk away. And so in that walking away, I started my own path of really deep diving in. And so that has been, oh my gosh, 15 years now. And when I got to the point of I was doing the mental gymnastics because I was reading a lot of books and digesting a lot of information, but I didn't really know how to apply it to my life. And then I found somatics, I found nervous system work, I found the connection to the embodiment piece of, oh, the energy stored in your body. It's not just a mindset thing. You get to work with the calibration of how your nervous system is responding or reacting to life. And so when that started, uh, just consuming me because I was obsessed with it. I was like, "Oh my god, this is the coolest thing ever," because I love movement. I was a professional dancer most of my life, so movement to me was normal. However, what I found is that somatics is not dancing at all. It is so different from dancing, and so that to me was, again, another key factor of just letting your body do what it naturally needs to do. And one of my first breath work sessions, like deep breath work sessions, my body flailed like I was having seizures. I just let it go. I was like, "Okay, this is what my body needs right now." And so, yeah, uncovering all of that led me to where I am today, and I love what I do, and it's never ending, and I'm okay with it now. Even though before I was like, "What do you mean again? Why is this back again?" It's never again. It's just another layer.
I love the metaphor of somatics is not dancing. I am an avid dancer, and I'm also a somatics worker, and I swear by it. So I'm really excited to hear more about you, us to unpack this together,
Yeah,
because I literally, if there was one message I could scream from the rooftops, it is like, get your like, take care of your nervous system, please.
yeah,
So much depends
yeah,
on how we're set up on a deep nervous system somatic level.
yeah.
But before we go into the intricacies of this conversation, I want to bring it back to this metaphor. Somatics is not dancing. And I'd love to ask you, well, for someone who's listening and has heard that word as a trendy pop spiritual age word, but isn't like quite sure what the
Mhm.
fuck that means.
It's a
What
buzzword for sure.
what is somatics for dummies? And how is it different from dance?
Well, to put it simply, somatic, soma means body. So you're working with the energy of the body. And when I work with my clients, we particularly go in and we'll do some of the mental gymnastics if that's there, because not everyone understands or remembers their stories. Our mind is designed to delete and distort and rearrange our thoughts. So I have a lot of clients that go, I don't remember my childhood. I have no memory. But yet they're living a life that doesn't feel fulfilled. They're living a life that feels empty, even though they might have all the things. They've checked all the boxes: married, children, career, house, vacations. But there's some element of aliveness missing. There's some element of feeling connected to your body is missing. And so we'll go in and we'll just ask the body. And the body is talking. It's always talking to us. If you think about it, our body is a living library of every experience we've ever had. It is stored in the body. And it's so beautiful in the movie Inside Out, I think it's called, where they talk about, they have all these characters, right? It's
I
so
love that
cool.
movie.
Right? Talk about understanding, the inside in a such a tangible way. And when we're talking to the body, if you think about it, our body's communicating when we're tired, right? Our body tells us time to go to bed, when we're hungry, when we have to use the bathroom, when we're feeling pleasure, when we're feeling pain, our body is communicating all the time. So if we can connect with a dialogue with the body to understand it on a deeper level of like, oh, this is what my anxiety feels like. This is what overwhelm feels like. This is what grief feels like. Then we can just listen and then go, oh, okay, my body's asking something of me right now. So I teach my clients, I guide them into tuning in, like just deeper levels of attunement of felt senses, the bubblies, the electricity, the fire, the chronic pain, the headache. Like, when did the headaches happen? When does the backache happen? When are you feeling insomnia? Like, when, like, so we're really like a scientist, kind of like shining a flashlight in all the things and going, oh, it's that. Oh, I see. I see where that's connected. Because the better we know ourselves, the better we can live a life that is as aligned as possible. You know, as Rumi says, get know thyself. Like, can you actually know yourself, know your triggers, know your wounds, so that when you step into a relationship, whether it's romantic or friends or family dynamics, you were like, oh, that's my stuff. And I feel that anxiety coming. I feel that something, that trigger. And I'm going to choose to either respond from a place of grounded, loving care and compassion, or I'm going to step away so that I don't project and react on this person that I actually do care about.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I love what you're describing. The way that the language that I use with my clients and my work, and that has helped supported me in understanding these concepts, is I think of it as the strengthening the internal architecture. And really, what is that scaffolding that we operate from? Our values, our mission, our vision, our why, our principles. And once we can clarify and see, look, actually, I think of it as like an excavation, like the temple is underneath all this debris.
Yeah.
And when we're able to clear away the debris, we
Mhm.
we start to see and see the temple, and we start to
Right.
restore the temple back into its grandiosity. And from that space, then we can truly serve. So that's what comes through, the image that comes through as you're speaking into
I
that.
love that analogy of the temple. That's just beautiful. I had a beautiful visual.
Yeah.
And so now the temple transfers into the body, right? Of like, okay, my
Mhm,
body is the temple. And
mhm,
the more I can excavate and understand and build a more solid foundation, I call it capacity. The more I can hold, the more capacity I have to say, I'm ready for more money, more love, more laughter, more joy, whatever the more of that we desire, there's a capacity. We can only hold so much. So if
mhm,
my temple is full of old stories and beliefs and energetic, it's like a hose, it's clogged up, it's kinked up. And I start to unravel the hose and unkink the hose and I let it flow freely, then I have more capacity to hold more because I can let things come in and out. Again,
mhm,
we're in and out beings.
mhm,
So if I can, when we drink a lot of water, we pee it out. When we eat a lot of food, we poop it out. When we have all these emotions, a lot of times we push it down. We suppress it down. Again, the brain's doing its job. It's keeping you safe. Delete, distort, rearrange, make sure to keep you safe, scanning all the time. And so if we can build that connection to go, oh, it's safe to grieve, it's safe to heal, it's safe to feel, it's safe to express, and it's that safety piece. And if there's not safety, then of course we're going to suppress it. We're going to push it back down. If I'm not safe in my home, my environment, the home that I live in, that I'm being raised in by my parents, if it doesn't feel safe, I'm putting a kink in the hose. If I'm not safe in a relationship to express my needs and my desires because I might feel shamed or that person will judge me, then I'm going to put a kink in that hose because it's not safe. But the truth of the matter is the safety comes from within. If I don't build that own infrastructure of the safety in the temple within myself to go, you know what? I own my worth. I trust my intuition. I trust that my internal GPS is communicating with me in the way that it needs to because something here needs to be expressed. And of course, we get to express it from a place of love and ownership. And if that's a no for someone, then we get to own that worth and walk away. And I think that's what, myself included, a lot of women that I work with, that's what they're coming into. That's what they're becoming, the ownership of their own worth, the connection to the value of our intuition.
mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. And I can feel the depth of your words and the embodiment of your words as a woman who has taken this journey on for herself.
Yeah.
And when I hear your words, I feel and hear both the embodiment of your wisdom, and at the same time, I also hear the echoes of all the women, both embodied and not embodied, who speak of similar things.
Mm,
And what feels really important for this conversation is for us to ground the potency of what you're saying
mm.
because what I notice is with a lot of women and men that are like for hearing you speak, yes, you got to trust your intuition. Yes, you got to do the thing. Yes, 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 Amie, all of that. And but the question mark for a lot of people is, yeah, but I don't feel safe and I don't know why.
Mhm.
And so if we know that on the other side of establishing that safety is a renewed sense of self-worth, is the clarity that is in that inner temple.
Mhm.
It's all the benefits that come from having increased capacity, which equals more income, it equals more healthy relationships, it equals better health, and insert all of the results that come when we feel safe in our body and we feel like we're worthy and we feel like we have capacity to say yes to more. But before that happens, I don't know about your experience, but I know in mine, with clients, it's like they don't even know why they're not safe. So
Exactly.
can we rewind and double click on that? And can we demystify why is it that so many people, especially in the modern world, just don't feel safe in their body right now on a nervous system level,
Yeah.
not mental gymnastics?
Yeah. I love this. I would say, we don't feel I'll speak for myself. I didn't feel safe in my own body for a long time because, one, I was, reprimanded as a child for my emotions. I was too sensitive, I was too intense, I had a lot of anger as a child, and I didn't have a place to express it in a safe way, because when I did, I was shamed for it by my parents. They would literally say, "Why are you crying, Amie? What is wrong with you?" So after hearing that over and over and over again, I started to go, well, there's something wrong with me. I'm not supposed to feel this way. This is not good. And if I feel this way and I show people, then I don't belong. I don't fit in. I won't get loved. And therefore, I started to suppress it. So that's a level of it's not safe. Then in grade school, I was bullied. I was pushed around on the playground. I was the last kid to get picked for like kickball or whatever game we were playing. And so again, when we experience something over and over and over again, I decided, okay, well, it's not safe to play on the playground at recess. And when I say over and over, it only takes a few times, to be honest. So I started volunteering inside to be the nurse's helper during recess so I didn't have to go outside. Why? It wasn't safe. It wasn't safe to be around these other kids. I didn't feel like I belonged. I didn't fit in. I wasn't lovable. So again, the story is affirmed at home and reaffirmed at school for me. And then we go into relationships. Let's talk romantic relationships. My first boyfriend cheated on me. So then I was like, oh, it's not safe to love. It's not safe to actually be in a relationship where you talk to people and you express your heart and therefore I'm not worthy of a healthy relationship. And so I attracted multiple men. Well, unconsciously, I started to manipulate first, unconsciously going, "Oh, well, in order for you to love me, it's a sex thing. I give you sex, you give me love." And so that was an unconscious contract that I was putting out there in my young teenage years. Uh, and this might be TMI, but I'll say it because I know I'm not alone, but at 19, I went to a fraternity party, a frat party, and I was drugged and raped. And this is how powerful our minds are, going back to deleting, distorting, and reorganizing. My brain deleted the memory for 22 years. For over 22 years, I did not remember this at all. It was only about 10 years ago now that the memory started coming back and I got to work with it. However, unconsciously, if I look back at that memory now and I have little bits and pieces of like what happened, I remember collapsing on my bathroom floor the morning after. And the only reason why I knew that I was raped was because I went to use the restroom in the morning and a condom came out of me. I did not remember any of this until I started having those flashbacks. And I collapsed on the floor. I, in fetal position, cried my eyes out. And I thought to myself, I didn't remember a damn thing because of the whatever drug they put in my drink. I'm like, well, who am I going to tell? No one would ever even believe me. I don't even know what happened. So I decided this never happened. It never happened. We're just gonna put it under the rug and leave it there. Well, it stayed there for 20 something years and then it popped back up. But in that in between state, if I look at the relationships and the kind of men I was attracting, I was still in the same belief system of I give you this, you give me that. I was in the belief system of men only want one thing. And I was in the belief system of, just a lot of masculine wounding of just anger and bitterness that was pushed down. And so again, not safe. It's not actually safe. And so for me, that was the unraveling of unpacking this. It is safe. It is safe to feel. It is safe to be in relationship. It is safe to listen to my body. It is safe to speak my words. It is safe. And so it's not always a fast track path to get there, but the dynamics of creating it from the inside out versus the outside in, because I was looking for external validation. I was looking for everything outside of myself to create my safety. Because we're taught that. We're taught look for approval, look for attention, look for validation, look for appreciation outside yourself for that sense of belonging and safety. And when we don't get that, we control and we start to manipulate things unconsciously most of the time. And so for me, that safety piece was looking at and recognizing, oh crap, see the patterns and the threads, and then start to go, what do I choose now? And practicing it little bite-sized pieces, because creating safety within is not always easy. And so when I work with myself and a lot of my clients, it's about the little things. How do I build self-trust? How do I build self-trust? Well, you say you're going to do something, do it. Okay, I'm going to go to the gym 3 times this week. Do it. I'm going to drink a gallon of water a day. Do it. I'm going to journal. I'm going to whatever those small things are that are bite-sized and actually tangible that you can do them, that's going to start to build up your self-trust bank account. Give yourself the credit and be like, "Oh, cool, I did the things." That internal safety comes from the trusting and the doing, the beingness of I'm going to be my word. I'm going to be in integrity with myself.
Thank you so
Did that
much.
answer the question?
It's a
I
lot.
kind of went
Yeah,
off
you
on.
put it in many different layers. So I will repeat back the highlight reel, or the highlight reel is not the right word for it, but what I'm hearing you say, that for many of us, ever since we were children, we were presented with circumstances in our caretaker, socioeconomic status, cultural being, where we were being shaped and coded by certain forces that taught us to believe that certain things are true. And if we, which, unfortunately, a lot of modern society has headed in this direction. If we grow up in places and spaces where we're constantly being told, you cannot be feeling your feelings, which is a big
Mhm.
one, especially for us empaths out there. You can't be this way. You need to be this way. You need to fit into this box. Then since we become literally, since we're young, we're being taught that for us to fully express ourselves as we are is not a safe experience, because if we express ourselves, then we will be punished. Love will be taken away. It might look like we'll get bullied. For some people, they get hit. For other people, they get shamed. But essentially, when you shine your light, it's not okay.
Right.
And we learn that as children because we don't have that critical filter. We don't have that ability and that strength. If someone isn't empowering us, an adult, ideally a functioning adult, isn't empowering us to believe in ourselves, to believe in our worth, then we essentially collapse into these defense and coping mechanisms that allow us to
Yeah,
survive through
exactly.
life in the best way that we can. That becomes maladaptive because it cuts us off from our connection to God's source universe. It cuts us off from our own inner wisdom and own inner listening, and essentially creates the piles of debris that we were speaking into with the internal temple. And things get really cloudy, and then this ever pervasive feeling of I'm not safe starts to bleed across. Like you said, it was in your personal life, it was in your relationships, it was, I'm sure it bled into professional career and all other areas where you just would be
Yeah.
get blocked.
Yeah.
So, Amie, I tread carefully with asking my next question, but it's in the field and it wants to come through. So bear with me as I find the words for you to receive the intention of the question. Mm. So you were sharing with me about, you're sharing about the memory of the sexual abuse, and really sorry to hear that. And, something that you also said is it was along the veins of, I realized I had all these belief systems that I was carrying around tit for tat, and then being a certain way, and men only wanting one thing. And I'm curious about you having lived through this experience and unpacked it. For people who have lived through really big experiences, such as, sexual abuse being one of them, the ones that are like, it happened to you and something happened and it was traumatic and it was violent and it was abusive. How do you balance the reality of these heavy, big T trauma incidents that happen in someone's life and taking ownership and not being the victim? Because it's sticky territory, right? When we go
Right.
there. I
Right.
can imagine you in your own process and likely in your support with clients, it's sticky and it's crunchy when it starts, the spiritual bypassing starts to come in
Absolutely.
and, like,
1,000%.
overlooking the human. So I'm curious, like, how, for anyone who's listening and maybe either has had their own big tree trauma that is resonating with your share, or they know somebody who has had this, what do you advise in terms of, okay, yes, there's belief systems that are attracting situations, but, like, we're victims, but we're not victims. How do you navigate?
I love that we're having this conversation, Celine, because I think it's so important because I'm tired of the spiritual bypassing bullshit, honestly. That just, it's so frustrating because the truth of the matter is, in the moment, okay, so no child deserves to be hit or beat or punished in physical, mental, or emotional ways. No woman or man deserves to be raped without, having sexual intimacy without consent. It's not okay. And in those moments, yes, we are victims in those moments. And it's important to recognize that those types of experiences can create an internal anger, rage, like a plethora of emotions. And those emotions need an outlet. All emotions need an outlet. And if there was never an opportunity to give them an outlet, it's stored inside. And so, working with my own experience, I got to create places and spaces for a safe outlet to let that rage and that anger come out. And that's what I do for my clients. They get to feel all those freaking feelings that are real and alive and possibly still alive in their bodies because they never had a space for it. And with that being said, when you are obviously, we didn't decide, hey, somebody come rape me, somebody come hit me, somebody come abuse me. We didn't decide that. It happened. And so, what are we choosing? Are we going to choose to stay in the victim state of consciousness? Or are we going to choose to allow ourselves to feel all the feelings, bring it all forward, release any shame or guilt that might be lingering, and then choose differently? Because if we stay in the victim consciousness, we're going to look at life through that lens constantly. And a lot of people do because it's really hard for some to overcome. They want to play the blame game. But that to me is, if our soul's on a trajectory of growth and expansion and healing, and our ego is like, we're not going to do that. We're gonna stay over here and play safe, and we're gonna blame, and we're gonna do all the things to dim the light and play small. And so there's almost like a tug of war. And my ask is, let your soul win. Let your soul do what it wants to do so that you can live a life of joy and pleasure and bliss and abundance and money and all the things that life has to offer. If we stay in that space of victim consciousness, we can't live that life that we desire. You're playing that tug of war. You're not clearing the channel out that we talked about, 5 minutes ago, so that you can actually experience a full funnel of floods coming in of like all the epic things that the universe has stored for us. We're putting a kink in the hose. And so, yes, you can choose to be the victim and stay in that world, but you're not going to live in the aliveness that you actually desire. You're not going to feel that vitality online, that life force of like creativity and just an overflow of love and giving from a full cup versus a half empty cup or even an empty cup for some of us. So yes, it effing sucks. And no, it's not okay. I will never say that that's okay. But forgiveness is not to say that what was done is okay. Forgiveness is saying, I choose to let go and forgive so that I can clean my slate and clean out my hose and clear out any connection, the energetic dynamics to that experience. Otherwise, I am allowing uh, that to consume me. I'm giving my power outside myself. I'm saying, okay, you hold the power. You hold the power to my life because you did fill in the blank. And I'm going to give my power outside myself over and over and over and be in the victim space and live a shitty life, really. Because that, again, that's not ownership. Ownership is like, well, what do I choose now? Do I want to live in the life that happened, I was 19 years old. It's 20 something years ago. I don't want to live that way. So it's choice. And not say it's always easy. It does take a lot of internal work. It's not a one and done. Oh, let's just do one plant medicine ceremony. Let's do one breath work session. Let's do one somatic session. It's layers. There's layers to it, especially if it's been decades. Think about it. You've been running the same pattern over and over for decades of our lives. It's not going to dissolve itself in one thing, in one session or one moment. And can that be okay? Can the layers be okay? The acceptance piece is big. It did happen. And it frippin' sucks. And what do you choose now?
Beautiful. I love the inquiry, which I'm going to repeat because if you can take this one home and journal on it, think about it. It's just that inquiry of, can I be okay with the layers? One layer at a time. Can I be okay with that? I think that really, I know personally hit me deep. I think that especially in the world that the grounds we stomp on, which is the very high performing entrepreneur slash leaders that are all about like, once I put my head into something, I'm going to focus, I'm going to get it done, it's going to get complete, and like freaking I'm going to rock the world, and I'm Superman slash Superwoman. And I noticed that when extremely high achieving individuals, they switch gears from having, crushed it in their business to their spiritual path. It's like a lot of them don't even know what to do with themselves because the linearity of acquiring material success it's a completely different ball game than this spiralic nature of the spiritual journey and actually going within and time not being something you can push or control, and the mystery being equal, actually I would argue more important than the predictability of your process of what workshops you're going or what coach you're hiring. It's in God's hands. And so, as the one thing I did want to really anchor in, Amie, is when you said, we put a kink and then we put a kink in the hose. And this is something you've said multiple times. So just to anchor this in, can you fill in the blank? We put a kink in the hose because ...
It's too painful to feel. It's too much to deal with. I don't have time to deal with that right now for those high achieving humans out there. I don't have time. I don't have time to feel my feelings. I don't have time. It's not okay. It's not safe to feel these feelings. It's not safe to express myself. It's not safe to own my worth. It's not safe to share my voice, my ideas, my opinions. Kink hose, kink hose, kink hose, kink hose. Keep kinking it. All of a sudden, you've got this giant hose with 1,000 kinks. One kink at a time, one layer at a time.
And with 1,000 giant hose with 1,000 kinks, then what happens? What are we
Explosion.
looking at?
We're looking at explosion. We're looking at suicidal
What?
ideation. We're looking at depression. We're looking at anxiety. We're looking at chronic dis-ease in the body. We're looking at, God forbid, some big disease come along. God forbid. But all of that, they have so much proof now that cancer and a lot of the major diseases are caused by trauma. They're caused by suppressed emotions. They're caused by levels of not allowing our nervous system to clear and clean itself because we don't have the tools, or we didn't have the tools, or our parents didn't have the tools. Therefore, we never got the tools, and therefore we're just suppressing it
Mhm. And
unconsciously.
what is it? I'm curious, what does it look like? I love the wording that you're using, to allow the nervous system to heal itself rather than to heal it, right? And I'm curious, what does it look like to allow the nervous system to heal itself? What does it look like to unkink the kinks, especially when you have queued up all pretty much?
Right? Exactly. I feel it requires a safe place, a safe space, whether it's with a coach or at a workshop or with someone that you can trust, and start to unpack all of it. It looks like practices to move the body in particular ways. Like I have particular practices through the modalities that I've been studying that work with the energy in the hips, specifically of women and traumatic sexual assaults. I work with the heart and the armor that we carry in our bodies. Work with anger releases and shame and guilt and being witness. Our shame is shed when it comes to the light, when we can actually share it. Oh my gosh, this thing happened. And this is how I feel. And this is what's coming up for me. And give our body an opportunity to be with it. Again, movement, stomping your feet, punching pillows, whatever that is, whatever's being called, allow. Allow the nervous system to release it.
Mhm. I love it. Yeah, I'm hearing
I mean, it
that
sounds so simple.
it is simple. I mean,
It is.
isn't that the point? It's meant to be simple. I'm hearing this so deeply. I love hearing it through your words as it resonates as well with my work. And it's about there was a study which I'm going to very not quote well, but hopefully get the point across. There was a study where they looked at a bunch of modalities and therapeutic modalities to see which one was better.
Mhm.
And they found that actually the number one influence of someone's healing process was not the modality so much as it was the quality of the relationship with the therapist.
Absolutely.
And it really brings us back to when we have been coded to not feel safe in our body, and we literally do not know what safety is
Yeah.
by the virtue of literally attracting people and situations that mirror back to us the lack of our safety. It's so important to intentionally place ourselves in an environment. Shout out, like, what's it called? Shout out to legendary in plug, shameless plug, legendary. But to really create an environment where we can feel like we are safe and it's okay to be ourselves. And that environment creates that container that can literally model for us something that we either know very little of or haven't really experienced before. And what I'm hearing, Amie, from what you're sharing is that when we have that environment, our body knows what to do. There's nothing to do. There's no mental hurdle there's no gymnastics that need to be done. It's actually an act of leaning back and allowing the body to do what she or he needs to do. And I even think particularly of the power of breath work and, activities like that. Was that what you agree?
I agree a thousand
Well, did that
percent.
resonate? The
And
question, I'm
so,
like, I don't know what the question was.
no, I love this. And I really want to highlight this because some of you who might be listening going, I don't know, because there's still a guard, there's still armor there. If you haven't been in a safe place before, if you don't know what that actually feels like in your body, then it's going to feel very foreign, and your old tendencies are going to come up.
Mhm.
And so there is an intuitive, like, so if your body's doing even just a little bit of like a lean in, like, oh, I'm curious, then that's probably your permission slip to go lean in a little further. This is a safe place. Lean in a little further. This is a safe place. Lean in a little further. Oh, this is a safe place. Because at some point, we get to use discernment, because not every, in my opinion, not every coaching container or spiritual community is safe, in my opinion. So you get to choose wisely, and you get to try it out. You get to figure it out. Trial by error, right? Trial by experience. The only way we know is to find out. Go find out. And that is, I think, sometimes a little bit of that scarier leap to take, because you actually have to take the leap to find out.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's trusting yourself to go, okay, I'm going to go find out. I'm going to see what happens. And then you can lean in a little further. And again, you'll listen. And if it's a no, it's a no. Then step back. But it is like we get to be, we get to really just listen. And it's deep listening. It really is. It's deep listening to the body. And what do they say? Fear is two things: fuck everything and run, or feel everything and rise. Which one do you want to do? Do you want to keep running from what you actually desire? Or do you want to rise to the occasion and go, you know what? Let me assert myself. Let me see. Let me find out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love this. I'm going to keep that one. It's great. Feel everything and rise, or fuck everything and run. Like the choice point that we have whenever we're being confronted with our fears. And,
Yeah.
And I appreciate that the nuances of what we're discussing are 1,001 shades, right? And it's not, this conversation is an opener of what could it look like and feel like to create that safety in your body, especially if it's something you've been lacking. And something you shared is that I find to be very powerful,
Yeah.
is that at first, even when we are being presented with safety, if we've been coded to not feel safe, we resist it, or we push it away, or we even sometimes sabotage it. And I see this a lot with clients, for example, with relationships, where they will, label the safe guy as boring. Or, I know you
So
know this,
true.
where it's like, oh, I don't
So
know about
true.
him. He's like too nice. And
Right?
it's because the nervous system is so familiar with bracing
Yeah.
itself for like the
So good.
impact, and for the rug being swept from under
Well,
you, that you're like,
yes.
ick. And
Well,
so, yeah,
it's
I've
the
seen,
addiction to the chaos, though. It's the
yep,
addiction to the chaos, because that's all we know. And I say we because I am included in that. That was my story for so long.
yeah, yeah. And, the one thing I'm going to share a little bit of a little story slash,
Yeah.
metaphor, because it leads into my next question. Because what you shared was, well, you need to trust your intuition and lean in a little bit, and lean in a bit, and lean in a little bit. Now, I had a mentor who was very much a stickler around how rightfully, that our spiritual ascension has everything to do with our diet and the way that we eat.
Yeah.
And she would drill me about, my addiction to sugar. And I would say, she's like, well, you need to eat. I'm like, how do I know what you eat? She's like, you need to feel it intuitively. And I'm like, well, I feel like eating sugar,
I want
ma'am.
that kind of Ben and Jerry.
I don't know what you're talking about. I have a very real physiological urge to eat sugar. So how am I to trust my body if you're telling me to just feel into it, but my feeling is that I want this thing that's bad for me? And it's interesting, because in that moment I realized, like, God bless her, she's so embodied and so ascended in her teachings that she truly has forgotten what it's like to be 5 steps
Human.
behind. Is like the gap is so big that I had to be the one to remind her. And it dovetails into what you're sharing, that we tell people, just intuitively feel into it. But if we're still hooked into the addictions of either our emotions, or either the biochemical, aka emotional addictions, or the literal chemical that could look like nicotine, or sugar, or whatever our drug of choice is, it does cloud our intuition, and it does prevent us from clearly seeing this is the next best step for me. And
Mm.
so I love what you're saying in terms of let's feel, you need to feel like intuitively, when is it a safe space? But what happens when someone's antenna has been clogged up by, emotions
Mhm.
or, substances that they're committed to
Yeah.
clearing? It's not like they're in denial of it, but, just like when I had my addiction, until I didn't have my addiction.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I can speak from my experience, but I want to hear what you would recommend in
Find
that.
out. That's my offer. Find out. Go find out. If you stop eating sugar, does your life feel better? Do you feel better? Do you sleep better? Do you fill in the blank better? Find out. You're only going to find out by trying, by doing, by actually taking the step forward. If I say, oh, I want a healthy relationship, I want a healthy romantic relationship. Oh, but he's so safe. He's so boring. He's so fill in the blank. He's not feeding my habit of the chaos, right? Go find out. Actually be in relationship and actually see. And that's the only way we're going to break the patterns and habits. We got to have a pattern interrupt somewhere. There's got to be a pattern. If we're so resistant, but yet we're so unfulfilled in life and we're so unhappy or we're not satisfied, then you got to try something else. I mean, it just makes logical sense. Like, okay, like go do something else, be someone else, try it on, find out, because otherwise you'll never know. What if that safe guy, that non-chaotic guy, if I give it, a month, 2 months, 3 months and go, oh my gosh, my nervous system feels so at home here. I can actually relax, especially as a woman, I can actually relax. I can allow him to lead. I can feel nurtured and nourished by him and his masculine support. He can contain my crazy, my wild. Find out.
Mhm.
Yeah, like I'm not saying it's not always easy, but let me tell you, if you had something major in your life and you had to do it because otherwise, I don't know, your child would die, like let's just do extreme for a moment, you would do it. You would raise $1 million if you had to. If something was on the line that was so important to you, you'd do the other thing that needed to be done to get it completed and to find out. And the more we get curious and again be that scientist of our own nervous system, the easier it gets. The more we practice something, it's just like going to the gym. The more you practice something, it's you're building a muscle. Find out, build that muscle.
Beautiful.
Consistency is the key.
I love that. So you sharpen your intuition, you find out, and then you do the work to clear the pipes. Beautiful. So, Amie, as we begin to near the beginning of the end of today's conversation, now that we've gone on this whole journey together, and even looking back on the journey of your life, not just this conversation, if you could name the core lesson or gift that life has been trying to give you all along, what would it be?
It's a big question.
I got chills as I was asking it.
Huh?
So it's gotta, I'm like, oh, that's good.
I'd have to say, trust that I am worthy of it all.
Mm, mhm, mm.
Because for me, self worth was a big, big, big piece that was missing. I didn't think I was worthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And that I don't have to have it all figured out.
yeah, that one's really practical. Love that one. And
I
it
say, I say Gus, God, universe, source, spirit. And I say, Gus and I, we have a very good relationship and I'm on a need to know basis.
getting to know basis. I love it. It's really cute.
Yeah.
I love it. And if someone is listening right now at the edge of their journey to safety and transformation, what would you want them to know?
Take the leap, find out. And it is safe to find out that you are safe and it is possible. Go for it. Just go for it.
Amen
What do
to
we have to lose? The reality is, what do you have to lose? If you're not living life to your fullest right now and that's what you desire, more aliveness, more energy, more vitality, more whatever the more is that you want, it's available. It's all here. You just got to be willing to step out. Step out of your own
Mhm.
way. Yeah.
Mhm. And to those who say, well, I have to lose money, I have to lose a relationship, I have to lose my career, I have to, well, let me show you the whole list of things I got to lose, Amie. What would you say to that person?
I would say this: elevation requires separation. So go
Ooh,
ahead and lose all of those things and find out who you are without them, because that's when you'll find out who you truly are.
that's a good fucking answer, Amie. I like it a lot. I like playing the devil's advocate, and I like it even more when I when you outwit the devil.
You calling me the devil?
No, I'm calling myself the devil,
Oh,
but what is the devil really?
yeah. Yeah. Well, I
No,
mean, you're
no,
right
shot.
though. Yeah. I mean, we can get addicted to money. We can get addicted to sugar. We can get addicted to scrolling. We can get addicted to anything. Everything is at our fingertips these days. And too much of anything is never a good thing.
Mhm. Mm.
So, do you need to separate yourself from said thing to actually live the life that you say you desire? To live a legendary life, that's probably what's going to have to happen. Now, truth be told, it might be parents, it might be partner, it might be fill in the blank of someone that you absolutely, you want them in your life. So maybe that separation is just temporary. It's a pause. Because sometimes we can't create healthiness in a toxic situation. You can't live in a house full of mold and toxic mold and get healthy and be healthy and live a healthy life. So if your environment, i.e. people, relationships, is not healthy, then you get to remove yourself, separate yourself and figure it out, so that when you want that relationship with that person, and I'll use my mother as an example, very, in my opinion, very toxic growing up. It took me a long time to come to terms with acceptance. And that meant I had to do my own internal work, create my own internal safety, my own internal and innate worthiness of having healthy relationships, so that I could come to the table and sit literally and have a meal with her and not allow her to trigger me anymore. I've accepted who she is, how she is, who she's going to be in the world. And I chose to love her anyway because she was my mother. And so you get to, and it did take a little bit of separation for us, for me to come to all of that, to stand in my own solid temple, my foundation, in my truth and my wholeness, and not collapse, not crumble, not people please, not be the good girl or say the right thing. And that's, they say when you think you've done your work, go spend a week with your family and you'll find out.
Right? Yep. I know that one.
Yeah.
Thank you, Amie. That's really powerful. And, you've already started to allude to this, but for the sake of tradition, there's a question that I ask everyone on the podcast, and I'd love to ask it to you. So
Okay.
whatever comes through first. What does legendary mean to you?
Legendary is a way of being. It is a way of being with ourselves and with others from a place of compassion and empathy and vision and mission, and bringing humanity into as many hearts as possible, of like understanding that we are all human. We've all making mistakes. Those mistakes don't define us. Those choices do not define us. They probably have come from a wounded part of ourselves. And so can we come to a place of forgiveness of self and acceptance of self? Therefore, we are living from a place that's a lot less judgmental. We're still human, so we're going to have some judgment there, but it's about choosing to go, I'm living from the most present I can be within myself, and therefore I can see others in their wholeness as well.
Beautiful. I love it. So that is quite the journey. And I loved getting to know you in this way. And that was just not only a beautiful deep dive into getting to know you better, but also a very practical guide on how to come back to
Mm.
ourselves. I really enjoyed that thoroughly and the
Good.
practicality of it.
Yeah.
So, Amie, before I let you go, are there any final parting words that you want to share with the listener / our tribe?
Mm. That I feel really honored and blessed and grateful to be in this space. Like, it just community means the world to me, and I'm feeling tender about it because I'm gonna see most of you soon, and it's exciting. This is like a joyous, teary-eyed experience right now, and, yeah, just have more fun in life. Yeah, the playfulness is necessary. And I think as adults, we get stuck in these adult bodies, but the truth is we're just a bunch of kids who want to play more and laugh more. And that's something I just love about Burning Man and about this tribe. So, yeah, I'm excited. I'll see y'all soon. And if I don't
Beautiful.
see you there, please reach out to me. Please, I would love to connect, have a one-on-one Zoom call, coffee chat, or if you're ever in San Diego, my home, my casa, su casa.
Hey, careful. I'm
Yeah.
coming to San Diego. I'm going to take you up on that.
Hey, if you come and I'm out of town, you can stay here and mind my kitty cats and enjoy the space. It's beautiful here.
Won't wait
Come
to
on
meet
over.
Beautiful. Well, I'm going to see you at the burn either way and
Yeah.
in San Diego. So,
Yeah.
2+2, win-win.
Yeah.
Amie, thank you so much for coming on today and sharing your heart with us. And yeah, thank you, family, for listening. I'm Celinne, your host today. And until next time, stay legendary. Thank you for walking with us through the fires of remembrance. If today's story stirred something in your soul, share it with a fellow god or goddess. Subscribe to Legendary for more transmissions from our tribe, and may you continue weaving your legend in love and joy. Until next time, stay sovereign, stay sacred, and make it legendary.